Do you ever feel like you're doing everything right? You're taking action, you're staying motivated, you're chasing your goals, but somehow you're still not where you want to be? Well, I have coached thousands of ambitious people on every single kind of goal that you can imagine, and I keep seeing the same mistakes over and over, and these are the ones that I used to make too. So in today's video, I'm going to walk you through the 5 mistakes that ambitious people make and how to get out of them. And as I'm going through them, let me know in the comments which one resonates the most for you. Okay, number 1 is looking for the magic solution. If you are convinced that there is a magic solution that you just haven't found yet, and once you find it, then everything is going to get so much easier, then you will constantly be missing the thing that is actually going to get you to where you want to go. That's exactly what happened to the 2019 version of me. I had 2 clients. I was working in a call center part-time and sleeping on a mattress on the floor. And I was so motivated, I was so committed, and yet my business wasn't growing. I was convinced that there was a secret that I was missing, and if I could just find the secret, then I would have everything sorted. So I tried Facebook ads, I tried funnels, I tried email lists, I tried YouTube, I tried podcasts, I tried networking. Every single kind of thing you could think of, I tried it. And I was constantly switching ideas. I always started strong. I would go all in on a strategy for about a week, and then I would change my mind. So here's a photo of me in 2019 during my The Magic Solution is Keynote Speaking era. I had 3 people come to that event, and then my brain said to me, well, that can't be it. There's something wrong. And in my mind, something had gone wrong. This couldn't possibly be the solution because I didn't get the result I was looking for. So I was like, you know what I need to do? Obviously, I need to write a book. And so I switched to writing a book. And the same thing happened over and over. Because here's the cycle. Commit to a strategy, take action, hit an obstacle, doubt the strategy, and jump to a new one. If that sounds like what you've been doing, you have to stop or you will never see the progress that you want. For me, one day I just snapped. I had just had enough, and I decided that I was going to pick one strategy and make it work. And that's exactly what I did. Every single day I showed up messily, and even though there were other opportunities, I put my blinders on and I focused and I decided this was the one. And I didn't stop showing up until it worked. At which point I went from $500 a month in my business to $10,000 months, and I never stopped from there. So the moral of the story is there is no magic solution. You just have to pick a strategy and make it work. Because the truth is, any strategy can work. All strategies work if you do the work to make it work. All right, the second mistake that ambitious people make is telling themselves that it's not working. What happens when you tell yourself it's not working is that you stop working, and then guess what? It stops working. So you create a self-fulfilling prophecy every time you tell yourself it's not working. So even during the times when you have evidence that it isn't working, you have got to get your brain on board with why it is working. So no matter where you're at in your process, ask yourself, why is it working? Because you've already created a plan, because you've already started taking action, because even though you took action and didn't see the result that you were looking for, you actually got some more data. Why is it actually working? And I have got a trick that is going to make this so much easier, and I want you to write it down. That is that everything is evidence that it's working. So even the negative things, even the things you don't think are working, you've got to train your brain to be able to see why that means it is working. So let's say somebody unsubscribed from my YouTube channel. I get to tell myself that it's working because I am repelling all of the wrong people and sending out the message that the right people will want to hear and come in and subscribe. Or maybe I got sick, and that means that the toxins are leaving my body, so I'm going to be stronger for tomorrow. It sounds kind of cheesy, but the more that you can look for all evidence pointing to it's working, the more you're going to feel progress. Because as human beings, the best motivation we have is progress. And when you stop seeing progress and you stop looking for progress, you stop being motivated. And that's when you're at real risk of jumping strategies and trying to get a new one. So you've got to keep your brain on it is working at all times. And while we're on the topic of it's working, if you're enjoying this video, then make sure to let me know in the comments, and don't forget to hit subscribe if you're not already. Okay, the third mistake I see ambitious people make is overcomplicating the process. This one is super common. Instead of making a phone call, you build a pitch deck. Instead of posting the video, you redo your entire content strategy. You're overcomplicating it because your brain is thinking that it can't be this simple, or it's afraid of what might happen if you actually take the real action. But you have got to start simplifying. The bigger your goal is, the simpler your process needs to be. And your brain is going to trick you because it's going to tell you that the content strategy and the pitch deck are necessary and that they're super important if you want to do a good job at achieving your goal. But the truth is, you have got to let the process be messy to get a nice, clean outcome and actually get the result. So the way that you can do this is by asking yourself, could I technically achieve this goal without doing that thing? If the answer is yes, then it has got to go. It does not make it onto the plan. You've got to simplify your process so that you can actually get it done. So how have you been making your goal more complicated than it needs to be? What can you cut? What can you get rid of? That will help you make progress so much faster. Okay, the fourth mistake is thinking about the current circumstances and not thinking for the result. So your thoughts have two different purposes: perceiving what's going on around you and creating what is going to come next. And you want to use as much of your brain power, like 95% of it, focused on what results you want to create, regardless of the circumstances that currently exist. So let's say your goal is to get a book published and you've reached out to 5 different publishers and none of them have got back to you so far. You could either think about the circumstance that exists, that you don't have 5 responses, or you could think for the result that you want, which is that you want to get a response from the next one. And so it doesn't even really matter that 5 people haven't responded. It's got nothing to do with you creating the result. In fact, the more you dwell on the fact that 5 people haven't responded, the less action you're going to take and the least focused you will be on creating the result that you want. So I encourage you to notice your thoughts throughout the day and just ask yourself, am I thinking about the current circumstance, or am I thinking for the result that I want? What are the thoughts going through my mind? It's like thinking about your current bank balance doesn't make it grow any bigger, no matter how much you dwell on the fact that you don't like the number that's in there. Instead, you want to focus on the number you want to create and the actions you need to take to get there. Okay, so the 5th and final mistake that I see ambitious people make is quiet quitting. So most people don't flat out quit their goals. You don't probably think of yourself as a quitter, right? But what actually happens is you get excited about a goal, you take some action on it, and then when the obstacles arise, you start to stop taking action. You slowly back down. You get busy. Other things come up. And slowly you lose momentum until one day you turn around and realize you didn't even remember setting that goal. You didn't mean to stop, but you just slowly petered out. And you have got to make sure that that doesn't happen. Because if you've ever had this happen before, it can happen again. You are not immune to this happening, but there are ways to make sure it doesn't. One of the most important ways is to notice the language that you are using. Whenever you hear yourself say things like, I'm just taking a break, or I'm just pausing, or I'm just stepping back for a bit, just notice that language. Or it's just not one of my top priorities. I need to focus on my other priorities right now. This is your dream we are talking about. It is your top priority. You cannot let this slip away. You have got to start focusing on it. And if you are taking a break, be super deliberate about exactly how you're doing that with a date to come back, and not just, oh, I'll just leave this for a while. Because every time I've seen someone say, I'm just going to put this on the back burner for a bit, it just slips right away. The boring, ordinary tasks of life will always be there and they will always feel urgent. You have got to find a way to make the things that truly matter to you in the long term become your top priority. You have to start saying to yourself, my goal is my top priority. This thing matters to me, even if it means I don't get some of the other things done. This is probably the mistake people think is never going to happen to them. Oh no, my goal's really important to me. I would never let it slip away. But it happens all the time. So what are you going to do to make sure today that you are committed to your goal, and that even the everyday life stuff, and sometimes even the big crises that happen in life, how are you going to make sure that they do not get in the way of your dream? One of the best ways to avoid quiet quitting is loud committing. Who can you tell? When I blogged every day for 2 years, I told the world, I told people every single day that this is what I was doing. I posted it on the internet. I put it on Instagram. I told everyone everywhere. So it made it really hard to back out of. That is the whole purpose of accountability. So go and be loud about your commitment. Okay, so those are the 5 key mistakes I see ambitious people make when they're pursuing their goals. Let me know in the comments which one resonated the most for you. I would love to know. And if you want to get coached through these challenges, then you have to take my 3-day Do Something Impossible challenge. It is a free event where I am going to show you exactly how to set a goal, make a plan for it, and actually execute it. And those things might sound simple, but there's so many different things that can get in the way. And in that challenge, I walk you through every single one of them. So make sure you take the Do Something Impossible challenge. I will leave it in the link in the description. And in the meantime, don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.